All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black Spinner Music Podcast. And today we are going to be celebrating the Super Bowl. This is Super Bowl week. This is Media Week, where everyone is in media row and getting ready for the Super Bowl and all the Q&As from all the different teams. So us here at Black Spinner thought we would do the top five Super Bowl halftime performances because this is a music podcast. So we got a wonderful panel with us today. Starting off with Nate Atchison. He is from the Plug podcast with Metal Mike, and also on Saturdays on that metal station for the Bushy Power Hour, which is a
Yes.
really fun time. And Saturday morning, if you're kind of groggy, that will wake your ass up and have a good time with some music. And also, we have Kate Dore with us tonight from Vinyl Street. Check her out on Facebook under Vinyl Street. Go check it out. If you're looking for any kind of vinyl, she'll be able to find it and tell you all the ins and outs and A to Z about that album. And also, we have Al Horta for the Be Cool Be Podcast Out. If you need to know
Hey,
anything,
everybody.
or if you want to meet someone, let him know and he will introduce you to that person.
And get you a picture with him.
Yeah, whatever you want, Al's your man. So what we're going to be doing today, like I said, we're going to be talking about our top five halftime performances. This has been a institution in our country for a while now, the halftime performance, and it's always the talk of who's going to play. We wait, and when they make the announcement, it's always a big talk about it. It's always a little controversial of who's playing it. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people want their genres to be represented, which I do too. It's been a while since we've had rock on there,
Hmm.
but it's been a lot of big stars come out to do this. We're talking about big icons in the world of music have done Super Bowl halftimes. So, what are some of your fondest memories about this, Nate?
Uh, I tell you what, just today, especially today, in the last hour and a half since I've been home from work, I've had to go and watch them again. And thank God they seem like they're so long. And they're like 10, 13
12
minutes.
minutes, yeah.
Yeah, they're not long at all. And I forgot about a lot of them that have performed. I'm bushy. I drink a lot. Um, I always like sitting around the TV on Super Bowl Sunday, even from being a kid. The commercials because they used to be hilarious. The Cindy Crawford Pepsi commercial with Rodney Dangerfield comes to mind. There was always so many great commercials. And just the halftime show is just fun. It's a to take away from the stress of the game, especially if your team is in the damn thing. So I always think it's a great time cheering. Even when it's been crap that I don't like, I've always enjoyed the halftime shows. I'll admit, okay, the weekend show was okay. I don't like the guy. I don't know any of the music, but it was fun. you know.
Yep. And Kate, what are some of your memories about the halftime Super Bowl?
We always end up doing a party somehow. So, like for years, Nick's cute little grandparents would host like a chili cook-off party
Mhm.
and have all their friends. They had like a big pinochle club, and they would do that. They haven't done that in quite a while since they've gotten older, but that was always fun. Of course, halftime is always memorable. I don't follow football, and I'm not like a big football fan. So to me, like the halftime obviously is the big to do. Um, just hanging out with people. It's fun, even if you don't like football. Everybody else getting cranked. You're playing squares, whatever. Like that's
Yeah.
always a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Al, what are some of your favorite memories of the Super Bowls?
Just, either friends had parties or my brother used to host a lot of parties and, 10, 10, 15 years ago, for a lot of the Super Bowls. 10 years ago, really, 10 years and plus. And then, it was just always fun, man. Just like to be at a party drinking. And, I mean, even like sometimes Super Bowl halftime shows that particularly I wouldn't be in that much into the artist. I always wanted to check out the production value of it anyway, you know, and see like what kind of stage show they put on and whatever. That's just something, you know, if I'm not particularly into the artist, I'll still watch it, you know, and maybe they'll blow me away, you know. I mean, it's just one of those things that I find like sometimes, you know, I'll be watching and if it's not really kind of my cup of tea, then I'll just kind of tune out, go get a drink, go get something to eat, you know. But for the most part, I mean, they're a lot of them have been pretty good. They need to get more rock back on there, though, man. I mean, it's just like
The
I think
pop
the last
stuff
real
has
rock
had
act was-
enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've had
probably-
dude. The pop stuff has had a 10+ year run now. I mean, the last rock band that's been on there, I think, was the Who. I think
Yeah.
that was the last one. I don't count Coldplay. I don't count Maroon 5. None of that shit. So, I mean, the last real rock band I actually plugged in to play, you know, live, you know, was probably the Who. You know, when it's a lot of lip syncing, I just kind of usually get turned off by it. So, but that's my memories of it. A lot of parties, a lot of cool, fun times.
Yeah, this was always a big time in my family. Either my grandparents or my uncles and aunts will all come over and just watch the game, regardless of who's playing. You know, the Super Bowl was always a big thing because we always follow sports in our family. So, you know, Super Bowl is a special time, you know, for food and for friends and family. And then the halftime Super Bowl performance started to be something that we stayed in. We used to go outside and smoke and do whatever and then come back in when the third quarter started. But now, it's starting to be something that you sit around for and check out. So, um, Kate, why don't you touch us with a little bit of how all this became?
Drop some history? Why not?
Yeah,
So,
because it was just marching bands.
Yep.
And just no-name people, and then out of nowhere, it became these big star-studded performances of a who's name in the world of music.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about how we got to that point.
So, yep, like you said, a lot of marching bands and things. So they tried to feature any kind of college marching band. Our first Super Bowl halftime show, January 15th, 1967. And who's the host? Al Hirt. So there's a bunch of them. There's a few where Al Hirt is on them. Ella Fitzgerald's been on them. I have a list. So this list of people, if I miss anyone, I apologize. But this is, like I said, Al Hirt, Ella Fitzgerald, Doc Severinsen, Carol Channing. You have like Temptations, Martha Reeves, Anita Bryant, Lionel Hampton, Andy Williams, Diana Ross, Smokey Robinson, George Burns, Mickey Rooney. You have Woody Herman, Aerosmith, Patti LaBelle, Teddy Pendergrass, Chubby Checker, Pete Fountain, Phil Collins, Tony Bennett, Gloria Estefan. You have the Judds. They had a big country one that was like the Judds, Travis Tritt, and somebody else. Who else was on that one?
Clint Black was there.
All of these things, like prior to the 90s, it was a lot of like jazz musicians and just marching bands, but then it flips. And like in the 90s, then you're having like all these different rock bands. You have like Michael Jackson in 93. So that's a pretty big to do to have Michael Jackson host one. And there's not too many people who have been exclusively the one band, which like Stones, Michael Jackson, there's a handful that you can name that they actually had their own full set, because all these other ones are like a mishmash of randos, or they do have like last year was all like hip hop people, which was cool that they had like a whole thing. And going through all these people, like I missed a ton of people, obviously. But like you were saying too, like no matter who the band is, the show is always phenomenal. Like this is a pretty amazing feat of engineering and timing, and anything from fireworks to like actual explosions and everything going on, any stuff like that. So I mean, it's pretty incredible if you think about how much time, effort, hands, money, like everything that is exchanged in one of these. I mean, it's so much money. And then you have like 100,000 people are usually at the Super Bowl. And to be one of those fans in one of the crowds, if it was one of the bands that you love, like on the field, that would be amazing. But just thinking about all these different things with that, and every Super Bowl halftime show has a theme. So a lot of them, like you can look up the list. I just looked on Wiki to see what the list was, and I have a couple of names of like different themes from stuff that I picked as what I wanted to talk about. But they do different tributes to Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong, and a tribute to Motown and the Caribbean, and all these different themes that they have, which is really interesting. They have like Up With People does a bunch of shows for them prior to the 90s.
Who
And
was
that
one with
they have
Up?
some cool stuff where they do like fundraising, because that performers aren't actually paid, but the whole crew, so like all their friends, family, entourage, etc., is paid for by the Super Bowl, or by the NFL, I should say. And then they pay for all the sets, and all the set crew and everything like that is paid for, but the performer themselves isn't. So like Michael Jackson's one to name that, like he wasn't going to do it without a form of payment technically, but he had all the money donated to the Heal the World Foundation. So there's some, like, the Super Bowl gets pooped on a lot because obviously it's like American what's like, I don't want to say like nationalism, that's not the right word, but us showing off. And this is like the whole big thing of like, football's all American, we're gonna show our ass at like how much crazy shit we can do. And that ends up being like, other countries don't get it, but at least there's been like a philanthropic aspect that a lot of money does go to charities and things through that,
Right.
which is cool.
Yeah.
And it's not nearly as boring as soccer.
Right. I love this Simpsons thing. If you guys watch Simpsons, and they like have soccer come to Springfield, and the announcer for Springfield's like left, center, passes center, and then you see like one of the Spanish announcers like, center, passes, holds it. It's such a difference in how cranked people get over soccer, like football versus American football.
In this country, yeah.
Right. You know, in like America, it's all about American football. So it's just a funny dynamic that you see. But yeah, I mean, all these bands, it's pretty wild how many famous bands, and like Lenny Kravitz, Chili Peppers, Lady Gaga, like on and on and on, all these famous huge acts end up being there. And they've had a ton of people. The most interesting is the list of people who supposedly have turned it down is pretty incredible as well. So maybe we're in for a treat later. Hopefully some of these rock bands that have turned it down will get back on the bill.
Yeah. Hey, to go back to soccer, has the World Cup, I know the World Cup's coming to America in 2026. Has it ever been here before?
The World Cup's been here, yes.
Has it? Okay. Okay, I wasn't too sure because I just started paying attention to the World Cup.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
So I didn't know.
I'm the same. That's definitely an Al question. I know he likes soccer.
Yeah.
Sportsman.
Because it's coming in 2026, and Houston's one of the cities. And it's going to go, you know, they're going to have different semifinals and quarterfinals in big cities across America. All right, guys, so let's get started with our halftime performance picks. We'll start at number 5 and go to number 1. You know how we do this. We'll start off with Nate, 8, Al, and then myself, and just keep going till we reach our favorites. So, what do you start off with, Nate, as your number 5 performance?
Number 5, man. Dude, I got to go last year. Eminem, Dre, Snoop, Kendrick Lamar, 50 Cent. Dude, I love 90s rap. I love 90s hip hop. And I was really stoked when I heard who was performing that halftime show. And like I said, by the time the halftime show comes, I'm normally 3 sheets to the wind. So the lip syncing and stuff like that doesn't bother me because I'm too damn drunk to notice it most of the time.
Yeah.
Yo, I've got to go back and watch it the next day after being sober on YouTube to say, oh, okay, I guess you're right. That was such a fun show, man. Like I said, I've been a big fan of these guys for a long time. Eminem, I think he killed it. I was surprised to see 50 Cent because he wasn't one of those that was mentioned. I just had a great time. California Love, forgot about Dre. Dude, I ain't mad at you. I know it was just an instrumental for portion there that they had Still Dre. Eminem busted it out with Lose Yourself. Dude, it was such a fun halftime show. I mean, come on, Snoop, high as hell. on national, hell, worldwide TV anymore. It's
150
Crip walking,
million
man.
viewers.
Yeah, come on, he's Crip walking. Snoop's the smoothest dude ever, man. I still listen to that Doggy Style album. Still.
Mhm.
Yeah, that Doggy Style is a really good album. And what was pretty cool in the Grammys is when they did that hip hop rap thing during the Grammys. That was pretty cool. In fact, the only cool thing that was on there, they brought out Ice-T, Too Short. They all did a line or two. Ice-T, Too Short, LL Cool J, Scarface started it.
Damn.
It was like, what's the Grammys doing? I was
Was
like,
that this Grammys?
yeah, they just happened this past Sunday.
Yeah, because I don't watch the Grammys. It's,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It was like the legends of hip hop, and then of course they brought out some new people who I didn't know, but there were some pretty cool big names out there singing some of their tracks.
I might have to check that out. I'm sure it's on
Yeah,
YouTube.
and in fact, Public Enemy was there too.
I love Public
Flavor
Enemy.
Flav and Chuck D. Scarface started off with doing a verse of "My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me," and
Nice.
it just changed the music with their songs. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I'll have to check it out.
And Queen Latifah, of course, and Salt and Pepper. Now all these names are starting to pop in, but
Right.
the kings and queens of late '80s, early '90s hip hop. So, what is your number 5, Kate?
I want to add to that Dre. So the youngest ever to be headliner is Bruno Mars, but the oldest is Dr. Dre at 56
Nice.
when he
wow.
did that. Yeah, I was looking that up. I'm like, wait a minute. And I was thinking about that, but I'm like, Dre's 56 and he's out there killing it.
Hell yeah. That's Dre, man. You can't mess with
I
NWA.
know. I know.
If only Cube would have been there.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife Molly kept on saying, "Well, where's Ice Cube? Where's Ice?"
Uh-huh.
I said, "Just making a movie somewhere. He ain't coming to the Grammys."
Yeah, he's doing acting and that kind of thing. Yeah, my number 5, it was a tough call because I really liked that old one, how I was saying Ella was a host on one with Al Hurt. So that one, shout out to it. But I did pick Michael Jackson in 93. He does a jam of like Billie Jean, Black or White. He does We're the World and then Heal the World. And he has like this crazy crowd. Like the whole audience ends up holding these cards and there's all these kids coming out. Like I said, he donated all that money to Heal the World Foundation. I just want to shout out his guitarist. Jennifer Batten is a badass. She did 3 world tours with him. She did stuff with Jeff Beck. She's done like work with all these different people. So it's just something that I think about her that I don't know, many people know her name and she's still around, still plays. Like she is something else. She is incredible. And that wild hair. I love her wild hair, all her leather and stuff. She looks like she should be playing for like Judas Priest or somebody else, but she's playing for him. So I got to shout that one out. That's my number 5.
Yeah, and
I'm
sorry.
I just watched that. I just watched that Michael Jackson one today. Because I kind of have forgotten about it. And as I was watching it, I remembered, and it was during the Cowboys Bills game.
Yeah. I went through. I probably watched like I don't even know.
Right,
I watched
Nate?
like 20 of these.
Exactly right.
It was fun to go back and watch them because even like we were saying, a lot of them that I'm like, I wanted to give like Lady Gaga one a chance. I wanted to give like Timberlake and Madonna and a bunch of different ones a chance because it's stuff that I wouldn't listen to. And I'm like, damn, they do really put on an amazing show, even if you don't care for Beyonce or, you know, all these different people. Like their Super Bowl show is pretty incredible for just like the whole setup and everything. Lip syncing or not, some of them are really killer acts in the whole stage show. I mean, what you can pull off in 12 or 13 minutes is amazing.
I'm telling you, watch it drunk. The lip syncing doesn't matter.
It doesn't bug you. That's why I was like, I was trying to decide by having like the ZZ Top and Blues Brothers one on my list. And I was looking, I'm like, man, all the Blues Brothers are just lip syncing. I was like, yeah, that's kind of a bummer. But when you're running around like a maniac and you're kind of a heavy person, it's not easy to like try and sing. So I get it. And then
Especially
that
when
one's got like
James-
James Brown on it and everything.
Yeah.
So it's
That's a
just
fun
such
one. The
a-
Blues Brothers Bash is a fun
Yeah,
one.
that one was a really fun one. Yeah.
That was the one with James Belushi and John
Yeah.
Goodman.
Yeah, John
And of
Goodman,
course,
James
you see
Belushi.
the band, and it's
Yeah.
and
The
it's
band's so
band,
fun.
You know, it's pretty cool.
And you have like James Brown coming out and like ZZ Top rolls up with the Eliminator. It's like
Yeah,
wild to see all this going on. So that one is a really fun one. It didn't
Yeah.
make my list, but shout out to
Mine either, but that's a
yeah,
good one.
that one's a really fun one.
yeah, that was fun.
Al, what's your number 5?
What's your number 5, Al?
I'm going with Tom Petty as my number 5.
Yeah.
I revisited that one today too. I watched it, and he put on a great performance.
Mhm.
I loved like his song selection. Obviously, he hit all the, like his big songs. I don't know. The stage production was really cool with the flying V guitar going into the stage. It was kind of cool, you know. So I remember that performance being really good and enjoying it like during that game. So I got to give some love to Tom Petty. So that's gonna be my number 5.
I'm gonna agree with Al. That's gonna be also my number 5, the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. You know, I spent the weekend at my mom's, and we were going through these, and we were talking about how, you know, this is so amazing that he didn't have any kind of spectacle going on.
Mm-mm.
There were no dancers. It was just him and the band,
Yep.
and they killed American Girl.
They played a great set. I mean, they
That
played a
stage
set.
is cool
you
too,
know?
how
Yeah.
they had the stage set up, and it's like it'd be like one of their regular shows. It's not like some
Yeah.
crazy stage production, and that
Yeah.
was a really good one. And they're one of the few that like that's just them doing it. It's not a whole bunch
Yeah.
of supporting acts. So
And that's why I put it at 5. I didn't put the Tom Petty higher
mhm.
because it was a regular Tom Petty show, but it was special because of the song selection, like Al was saying.
Andy, I'm gonna leave and come back in because I hear like the clicking.
Yeah,
Like
sure,
him.
of course, that's fine. So that's going to be my number 5. It's going to be Tom Petty.
Yeah,
Just always
it
has
made
to be
honorable
Al.
mention for me because it's a
Yeah.
dynamite show.
Yeah,
it
that one's
really
what
is.
42, and that
Yeah.
was in 2008.
Oh, was
I
it
think-
8?
Yeah, I think
thought it was 9, but
Springsteen's 09. Yeah. But that, like, you got to think about how old Tom Petty is in that, too. And he's just killing it on that. Like, Tom
Yeah.
Petty's not one of my go to listens, but that's definitely, I rewatched that one. And it's like, man, they really did a great show because they packed in, 6 or 7 songs in 12
Yeah.
minutes, doing like a really long medley kind of style.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it flowed so well.
Yeah.
And the thing is that with me, Tom Petty is a band that I do listen to quite a bit.
Yeah.
I like Petty, man. And I tell you what, they closed that set with my favorite Tom Petty song, man, "Running Down a Dream." That thing just rocks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the end with Mike Campbell. Oh my God, dude! It just
Yeah, Mike
it's like
Campbell
never
jammed,
even
man.
solo.
Yeah.
He jammed on that one, man.
It's like
Well,
they
that's a
never even
band that
solo.
you like feel that they were actually playing.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Know
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
were
Oh, yeah.
playing, you know?
They were plugged in and they were playing.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about it.
Hmm.
it's rock and,
And
roll, man.
I
It is
remember,
rock
and
roll.
I remember when watching that, man, I was like, I always liked Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, but I remember really watching that performance and thinking, damn, you know, Mike Campbell's such a fucking underrated guitar player, man. He doesn't get the props he should get.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I had a whole new respect for him, man. You know, not that I didn't have respect for him before that, but after watching that, I was like, you know, no, he rules, man. So
No, once you learn more about all the different things and like actual playing and style and everything, then you realize some people, like, you reevaluate it
yeah,
and you get to see that it's like, holy crap, they were phenomenal and they always got, I don't know, you're behind Tom Petty. So,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know,
But
so that was your number 5 too, Andy.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's my number 5. Now, I don't want to run on with a Tom Petty show, but I just wanted to say Mike Campbell really did show off his guitar skills the last 10 years of the band. He
Yeah.
really did in live
Yes.
and in the studio. He really came out of his show and really started burning. He really
I
did.
think Petty's one that like kept getting better too, because you
Yeah,
know how
he
some
really did.
guys like they're older and like their voice is lost or they don't play as well or whatever, or they lose that like vibe, and he stayed with it.
Yeah,
He's one
the
like
band,
yeah,
when
and the
got
band was
better,
great. Yeah,
and they started pushing the limits a little bit farther with their own brand.
yeah.
Where as they went on, their album started to sound more and more different from their earlier stuff, which
Mhm.
was really cool. All right, Bushy, what's your number 4?
Number 4. Look, you fuckers, shut up. I don't want to hear you guys making fun of me.
It's Katy
Never.
Perry.
It's not, but it is Lady Gaga. Man, I love Lady
I'm
Gaga.
not making fun of you, man. I think she puts on I've seen her in concert.
That show is
It's on the
amazing.
See, I
great
never
show.
have. I never
Yeah.
have, but I don't know how I fell into becoming a Lady Gaga fan. It may have been the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 50, in 2017. But she's another one. She slammed a bunch of songs into those 12 minutes. All the hits. I like the whole "God Bless America, This Land Is Your Land" thing.
Oh yeah,
I
That
think
medley was cool.
and she leaps off the thing. I think I saw somewhere that she had recorded that earlier, which is fine. Whatever, I get that. You don't want to take the chance in front of a live audience. It makes sense to me.
Right.
But so many great songs, and she's just fun, dude. She's like the Madonna of this era, if you ask me. She's just really, really good. She's whacked out of her mind with some of her outfits and such. She's not afraid to be controversial. She kept it pretty level during this performance. But again, like the Tom Petty show that got an honorable mention from me, man, she closed it out with my favorite song, "Bad Romance." I love that stupid song. I can't help it. I like pop music, man. Metal's my favorite. Hard rock and metal's my favorite, and the blues. But man, I love fucking pop. I like music, dude. Why can't we just say that anymore? I like music.
You don't have to apologize for what you like.
Yeah.
That bugs me when people feel like they have to apologize for what they're into. Like, just
Well,
like
that's
what you like.
Yeah,
Life's
that's
too
like-
short, man.
One
Too
of my
many
other honorable
people
mentions
making
is
comments.
Aerosmith and NSYNC. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, NSYNC only did the "Bye Bye Bye" song. We all know that. Whatever. And then Aerosmith
Yeah.
comes out and they drop a couple ballads.
That's such a random mashup. Yeah.
I know, and then they
But
hit.
that's Timberlake, man. Like, think of being Timberlake that he does in sync like that, and then he hosts one. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty incredible.
But when Britney came out singing "Walk This Way" with, that's another weakness of mine is Britney Spears.
Timberlake.
Them tight
Timberlake's
little
like-
pants she had on and that little crop top. I was like, oh my God, sing that shit, Britney. It was hard for Aerosmith not to make my top 5 because of Britney alone. I was like, oh, she really needs to be in there.
What,
I think Timberlake's the artist that's been on the halftime shows the most.
Mhm.
He was there with
three
Janet.
times, right?
He was there with them. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did his own. He's been
Yeah,
on there a
he
lot.
did a
Twice.
solo one, I think. That the end of
Yeah.
that Lady Gaga one, I like she comes out in the crowd and that
Yeah.
fan is like hysterically sobbing and she hugs her. I'm like, man, that's really freaking cool of someone to be that way. And I think she is
Oh,
like
yeah.
that a lot with her fans. But that her and Tony Bennett album, I mean, classically trained pianist, she's incredibly talented.
Oh,
Her
yeah.
pop stuff's not my jive, but it's like this broad has pipes. She can play the piano. She can do a million other things. Like, she's very versatile.
Great actress.
Yeah.
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 Oh, and Gloria Stefan has been on there 3 times.
She's done. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hers are good. I love Gloria Stefan. That's
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used
And she
to
was
dig
supposed to
all
be-
over Miami Sound Machine back in the 80s.
yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. And
Yep.
she
They
was
did it.
supposed-
That was Miami Sound Machine, and then she did one with Stevie Wonder. And
Yeah.
I think she's been on another time for something else, but those are the 2 I can think of.
Right. Yeah, she's been on there a couple of times. So what's
So
your
yeah,
number
number 4 was Lady Gaga, Super Bowl 50.
Yeah, that's a good pick, man. That
Yeah,
show
it
is
was.
killer. But speaking of Gloria Stefan and Stevie Wonder, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy is the other act on that one. So that's my number 4. This one, they had that weird intro with like E.T. Do you guys remember this? Did you rewatch it?
I
They have a
didn't see
thing with
that one.
E.T. and they turn all the lights off in the stadium, and then they talk to E.T. to have him turn the lights on in the stadium. So, like, man, if I was a little kid, that would have blown my mind. But I'm just rewatching it, and that was Super Bowl 33 in 1999.
So
I-
he was like 17 years earlier.
Yeah, yeah. I
I don't remember.
This one's a
E.T..
cool
I'm
one.
I'm gonna have to
you
watch
got to
that
rewatch
show.
it because the clip that like the NFL has for that, they have the whole ET bit because like Stevie Wonder is coming out of his dressing room and runs into ET and he's touching ET's head.
Oh my God.
It's
That is
really
great. I'm going to
I
have to
love the-
rewatch that because
I love the bit with
I don't
asking
even
ET
remember
to
this
turn the
thing.
lights back on in the Super Bowl. It's just such a funny, weird thing. But they that one's in honor of Duke Ellington. So they have a whole thing
Nice.
honoring Duke Ellington. And I love that one. I like Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. I've seen them. That's like a cool. I'm a big ska big band person, so I dig that. And they had a tap dancer doing stuff while Stevie Wonder was on, and then Stevie comes out from the piano and hangs out with this tap dancer, and he starts tap dancing some, which I thought was really cool. And then Gloria Estefan is on that one, and she's just phenomenal. She's amazing. I think such an underrated,
She really is.
performer, not just vocals, but for performing, she's phenomenal.
definitely.
No.
Like I said, I love pop. So
Yeah.
hey, I just
Yeah.
got a message saying your supervisor is watching you take that shot. So I'm gonna make another drink.
Cheers, man.
What's your next one?
Me? I'm up.
Yeah.
Yeah, number
four.
4.
Oh, what was yours, Kate?
I did the Stevie Wonder, Gloria Estefan, Big
That's
Bad Voodoo Daddy.
That's right.
Number
I gotta
4,
revisit, I
yeah.
gotta revisit that one. I didn't watch that one. I don't
That one's
remember
fun.
that
You got to check it out to have the whole clip. I think is like 15 or 17 minutes, but then you get the whole thing of like Stevie Wonder running into ET, and ET like they need his help to turn the lights back on in the stadium. So it's just a funny thing. I thought that was cute. They tried to make them like family friendly before. They were more wholesome, and it's definitely shifted that it's not so wholesome.
Yeah.
But that's how
Gotcha.
things go.
So
All right.
what's your number 4, Al?
My number 4 is gonna be a Beatle, Paul McCartney. I gotta go with Paul, man. Sir Paul. I remember this was the year after the controversial Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson
The
ordeal.
slip.
The nip slip. So, like when Paul McCartney was announced as the following year's performer, I'm like, yeah, they're playing it safe and going with a
Beatle.
They're going with a Beatle. They're playing
Somebody
it safe.
who's beloved by most of humanity.
Yeah, and to get their good name back in the graces of the people.
Yeah.
But he put on a phenomenal performance, I thought, and oh, come on, man, he's Paul McCartney, he's a Beatle, so there's not. I mean, everybody's gonna know the songs, so I put him at number 4 though. His performance is great, but there's better ones than him going on. I mean, there was a lot of good Super Bowl performances, but there's ones that really moved me, so that's kind of how my list went. But the Paul McCartney one was great. So I remember during, Live and Let Die with the whole fireworks, and like he usually does at his concerts anyway. And the whole crowd singing along the Hey Jude is always pretty moving.
Yeah.
So
I love
yeah,
that
that's
song because I'm a Na 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 fan. There's lots of Na Na Nas in there.
There's a lot of na-na-nas in that one.
Yeah.
I gotta
so
tell
that's
you,
my
you were
number 4.
mentioning the Jessica Simpson, Kid Rock, Nelly, Janet Jackson one, and I got laughing when you said that because that was not a nip slip, man. That was the whole damn titty.
The whole thing.
That was
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole titty because I just watched that before we came on because I was trying to refresh my
She had-
memory on these things.
She had
and
this thing
I was-
around her nipple, though, right?
It covered
She
it.
had like a pasty on or
Yeah,
something.
pasty on because that was the
Yeah.
whole thing. It flopped right out, dude. I was
Yeah.
like,
Things happen.
oh my God, I remember this. I remember the controversy. I remember
Oh, it's such a
conservative
big
radio and
deal.
TV freaking out. I was like,
Yeah.
as I was
That's
watching
what I
it
was
tonight, I
saying.
was like, I kind of understand. I
That was
kind of
Yeah.
get it.
That was
I
a
don't.
big.
That's the
turning
first
point.
time we ever heard wardrobe malfunction. that wasn't a thing
Right.
before.
That wasn't a term. Yeah.
Janet Jackson created a word, but the
that
Paul
was a-
McCartney thing, I get that.
That was such a turning point in, like,
Live TV,
FCC
because then they had the
FCC
delay and
history.
everything too.
Yeah, 5-second delay.
They
on
never
all
had
live
that
programming.
before. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a big deal. I mean, that's a really historic moment. Just a weird
That's
accident,
huge
but
when you think of, was it the Grammys when Slash and Duff went up on stage
Oh, they
to
were
accept their
dropping
award?
F-bombs.
And they're like,
Dropping
I'd like to thank everyone who fucking got us here. Oops.
I think that was the American Music Awards. That,
AMAs.
Wow, really?
yeah.
I remember that was 87 or 88.
But yeah, the whole I remember that controversy, man. That was like such a huge turning point. The FCC started clamping down on so much shit,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
pretty much they were starting to go after, how many times on the radio have you heard Pink Floyd's Money, right? There's a curse in that song,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
They started
bullshit.
censoring
Do goody
after
good
that
bullshit.
incident. They
Yeah.
started censoring that word on the radio whenever it got played on the radio, and you never heard.
No.
It's
I've even
censored.
heard it where like hell and bitch are censored, and then they seem like they've let up now, but I remember like
Well, for
after
a
that
while,
it
they-
seemed like they were really hardcore
They
about
clamped-
stupid
they
words that
clamped
aren't
down
even
on
bad.
like everything. They clamped down on
Mhm.
everything, man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I hate censorship. Walmart pissed me off, to get off subject for a second. I bought a Creed Greatest Hits CD. Yes, I like Creed, people. And they're like, can't see anymore. Something about goddamn wars, it says. Walmart censored God. And I was like, wait a second.
What?
I guess if you're going to censor
The
something,
combo.
censor the
You
curse.
can't say
or-
you can't say goddamn.
And I was like, that's one of my
Yeah.
favorite
You
phrases.
can say
Don't
one or
do
the
that to
other, but
me.
not that.
Oh, I get in
Mhm.
trouble down here in the Bible Belt all the time because
Oh, I bet.
because I say goddamn.
Yeah.
Goddamn it.
Andy, what's your number 4?
Yeah, my number 4. I've been going back and forth. I know what my top 5 were, but putting them in order was tough.
Mm-hmm.
But number 4 is going to be Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. Another performance with just the band, just jamming
Yeah.
out, giving a great performance. Doing Born to Run and doing 10th Avenue Freeze Out, which is one of my favorite songs. I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. And so it was really cool. He was just so full of energy, sliding on his knees, hitting the camera. He was really he had said no so many times, and then when he finally said yes, he gave one of the best performances in my opinion. And I've seen him once in concert, and man, he just it was a 3-hour plus show easily, and I still didn't want to leave. It was
Wow.
that great.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hear more. So Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band, is my number 4.
That one's good. I rewatched that one. That one's killer.
Yeah, it really is.
The band is so good. And who is it? Stevie. I can't think of his name.
Stevie Van Zandt.
Yeah, their like companionship on stage. I love when they're singing together or something, or they go to hug each other after the set.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that one's
Yeah,
good.
and a lot of those band members are originals, or if not originals, they've been there for a very, very
long time. Yeah.
All right, Nate, what's your number 3?
Oh, for much the same reasons, just a completely different show. Never saw them live, but man, Super Bowl 40, Rolling Stones. It's weird because they still did the 10 or 12 minutes that every other band does, but they only did 3 songs.
Mhm.
But man, they made it work. And I gotta say, it's funny because you got the lips with the tongue, and the tongue's shaking, and all of a sudden it starts getting pulled back, and you see that they have basically a little pit, where
Mhm.
there's fans playing. It's just raw Rolling Stones, Start Me Up, Rough Justice, and Satisfaction. Dude, it's sloppy like the Stones are. You'll never be able to convince me that wasn't a live performance because
Mhm.
I listen, man, and I'm like, "Ooh, boy, Keith, you messed something up there," you know.
When
'Cause
they
they're
first that like
just
first
sloppy.
guitar lick is off, you can
Yeah,
tell it's live.
yeah, they're just
Yeah,
they're sloppy. It's
yeah,
what I like about the Stones. It's what I like about
yeah.
early Kiss, you know, and it's fun, and they're my favorite rock and roll band. Rock and roll band. My favorite hard rock is Kiss, but yeah, man, great show. Super Bowl 40, Stones. Come on, Mick Jagger. That dude's still on stage to this day. These guys are still doing it. He's still goose
Yeah.
stepping and flapping his arms and having a good time.
And the band was great during that Super
Mhm.
Bowl performance. They were
Oh yeah,
just playing their brand of rock and roll, you know, swinging, and sometimes it can get hard, and sometimes it can just be swing out there. So that was a good one too. I like that one.
yeah. I
It didn't
enjoyed
get
that
that
show.
hard,
Yeah.
but it was good.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, I
what's your
remember watching that one live and that tongue in the crowd with the mosh pit thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was so cool when they
that's
did
that's,
that.
that's pretty cool. You like
What a good
Stones doing a
idea.
pit?
Whoever thought of that. Like what a cool stage setup.
And at the time, I remember people complaining, why these old dudes? Because they're badass. That's why these old dudes.
Yeah.
That
Well,
They're
is
think
even
of how many
older. That
people
was
watched the Super
06,
Bowl.
man. It's 23 and they're
Yeah.
still touring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them once, like in 2000 or 2001. But man, we were at a Reliance Stadium where the Texans play, and the stage was on one side of the field. And I kid you not, man, we were very last row.
As
on
far
the other
away.
side. As far away, I kid you not.
Yeah.
There were like nobody behind us but the glass. That's how
Nice.
far back. we
Oh
were.
my gosh. Yeah, that's pretty
But
far back.
it was so badass. It was me, my uncle, my two cousins, and we didn't give a damn. It was just a good time.
You had a
Yeah,
good
hell
time.
no. I would kill
Yeah.
to see the Stones, dude.
It was a good
Yeah.
time.
Love them.
Kate, what's your number 3?
My number 3, I'm going with McCartney. Obviously, super huge Beatles fan and love his solo stuff too. But this medley of different Beatles songs that he pulls off is phenomenal. And the stage on that one's really cool because when he's playing Drive My Car, that the whole stage has like the screen is in the stage underneath them, which was really, really interesting. He does Drive My Car, he does Get Back, he does Live and Let Die, he does Hey Jude, and like you said, the whole crowd doing Hey Jude at the end of that is amazing. I mean, it's just something that's so phenomenal to have a very human moment with a bunch of other people, and I love seeing that. That to me is always interesting. That's definitely one to revisit because if you look up the clip on YouTube that the NFL puts out, there's the pre-show stuff, so it's them and the band, and they're kind of talking and rapping about what they want to do, and that's really fun to hear the background of how they're trying to get everything set up. So that's one that's worth rewatching.
4:15.
Can't beat doing a Beatle. I mean, it's Paul McCartney.
Yeah. And he's always a professional, and he always does it well.
And he's the sweetest and most adorable. He just seems genuine when he seems so sweet and humble, you know.
Right. You know, and he really has aged gracefully, and he still takes
Mhm.
stage. And he doesn't sound like Paul of the 1970s, but he's out there and he's doing it for real.
Yeah, that's 05. I think I saw him, I want to say in 2006 or 7. I can't remember when he rolled through Detroit, but his voice was still so strong and his performance was just mind-bending that he's running back and forth across the stage and he has, 4 different guitars and a bass and all this other stuff. Like, he's just one of the best. I mean, can't argue it. You can't argue with it.
It's so crazy because I've seen him twice, and and we go to a Paul McCartney because Al's seen him a couple of times, right, Al?
Yeah.
Paul,
You just saw him this past year, right?
Yeah, I just saw him last summer.
Yeah.
That's probably
Took the baby girl.
Yeah, I took my daughter. She loved it.
Yeah. Amazing.
And I want.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got my daughter to see a Beatle. I'll have her experience.
Yeah.
She can grow up now and say, I got to see a Beatle. I got to see Elton John. she's seen some heavy hitters. Those
she gets, the more legendary those performances were too, and how how prolific those artists are.
Yeah.
she'll get it more when she's older too.
When she's older, she'll look back on it and really be like, yeah, man, I got to see greatness, you know?
Yeah.
So
But,
my number.
Oh
I'm
no,
sorry,
I
go
just wanted to add one more thing about Paul. When you go to a Paul McCartney show, it's weird. You feel the electricity in the air. No
Yeah.
matter how many concerts you've been to,
Yeah.
there's a buzz going.
But it's
on.
everyone else
of
there is
people.
so stoked. And that's why I
Yeah,
love
and-
going to live shows when you have people like everyone else is into that band and that energy happening. I mean, that's
and
such
you
a
hear people
cool.
chatter and singing, and you
Yeah.
just feel like you're a part of this
Yeah.
whole thing. And
I mean,
he
that's
hasn't
just
even come
something
out
you
yet.
can't experience that any other way except
No.
being in a live crowd, like a live audience for
And
a
I've
band.
never felt it any other time except for
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people that don't understand going to these shows because you love this
Mhm.
music so much,
Mhm.
they don't understand that vibe, man. They're going just
Yeah.
because, hey, I'll go to the show, you know. It's like, but those of us that love this music, it's like,
Yeah,
It's so different.
It's a big event for us.
Yeah.
really
it
is.
absolutely is.
Especially
a
seeing a
live band.
Beatle.
Yeah.
That was like, I think I've fangirl cried at a show ever twice. One was Paul McCartney, and he was talking about John and like their friendship and talking about that, and that just made me sob because it was just such a sweet thing. And then when I saw David Byrne, I like legit fangirl cried.
I
Like, I'm
fangirl
not a
cried the
crier,
first
but-
time I saw Kiss in '96. I ain't gonna lie. And when I saw Michael Sweet perform "Soldiers Under Command" at Rockin' Pod 2 years ago, because I was as close as I am to this computer from him, and
Oh, wow.
it was a weird experience because I'm all but just pouring down my
Yeah,
face.
it's
you
like
know?
your brain can't do anything else. You are so excited and you have so many emotions and adrenaline and all that other stuff happening, all these chemicals that you just cry. Like there's no other way.
Yeah,
to
it
have
was
that. I
it was
think-
the weirdest thing. It's like, why am I crying
Yeah.
seeing Michael Sweet? It's not even on a striper. This is weird.
It's just someone that like that's like seeing David Byrne without Talking Heads, that it's still such
It's
a
still,
huge
yeah.
and that's McCartney without the Beatles. That's just somebody like I never
Yeah.
thought I'd be able to see Paul McCartney. I never thought I'd have the money. I never, everything when you're young, it's like I'm broke and this and that. And it was just one of these like twists of fate. My friend found tickets on Craigslist that day, like
Nice.
hours before the show, and hit me up like, "You got $70?" I'm like, "Hell yes, I do." I'm like, I will sell a kidney or something. I don't
For
know.
real. That's how I saw the Cowboys play the Bills on Monday Night Football in 08, man. It was Craigslist.
Yep, you can score something when it's meant to be. It's meant to
Hell
be.
yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I saw Paul, it was through Craigslist, and the guy dropped it off at my work.
Mhm.
Nice.
I was at
We
work,
got
and
these tickets. It
they
was
are
like buy
the
one get one
local
free.
market.
Basically, it was crazy.
a stranger came
Yeah.
to my work. Hey man, did you want this ticket? Are you the one? Yeah, it was me.
Yeah, my buddy's like, I'm gonna go meet this dude. If I don't hear from you, or if you don't hear from me in like 15 minutes, call the police.
Call the police.
I'm gonna be
This
at
is
this
where I'm going to be. We all
It worked
see-
out.
that had to have been about the time that Craigslist killer was out there. Everybody's scared.
Shoot, I'm
Yeah,
sure
'cause
there's more
everyone
than
was on
one.
Craigslist at that time without even thinking twice,
Yeah, it was a
Oh, man,
different
why don't you
time.
just come by my house. You're like, what? It's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
And
yeah.
now it's so, and now I don't know if we take more precaution or not, because now we get in the cars with strangers. You call them to come pick you up, and you
Uber,
got-
Uber and Lyft, man. Well, you got a lot of lawsuits going on against them
We,
Yeah,
for
we,
sketchy
we don't
behavior.
have those where I live, sir. I live in the sticks.
The country bumpkins get a horse and carriage. You got to call
We don't have a taxi
them
service.
on
Nothing.
What's your number 3?
I'm going Nate, man, on this one, the Stones.
Fuck yeah.
My number 3.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude, they fucking came out and they blazed, man. They just played so good. The sound mix of this one was like one of the best sound mixes I've heard, and they were playing live. And I heard,
Yeah.
and I heard like it was said that somebody had told them, well, if you guys want to, play to a track or lip sync or whatever. And Keith was basically like, "Fuck you, I'm playing live,"
Absolutely not.
and that's so Keith, man. That's so, just Keith Richards, man. It's just the Stones is just, they seem like a band that's just incapable of lip syncing anything. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, they just
not
can't
them.
fake it, dude.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, that performance was pretty badass, man. And
Hell yeah.
I mean, Mick running around the stage like a fucking teenager. Still, it's insane.
He's
the energy
wild,
that guy
man,
has, man.
and like, yeah.
He really. I mean, I finally saw the Stones for the first time in 2019, the year before COVID hit, right?
Oh wow.
And I had never seen them before, and I went, and it was like a month and change after Mick had an open heart surgery, and the fucking guy was running around like a maniac, bro. I'm like, where does this guy get this energy from? And then I was like, it's got to be from the Brazilian models that he dates. You know what I mean?
There's got to be something to it, right?
and wasn't he like? Didn't he just have a baby too again? Like not too
Yeah.
far. It's like,
Yeah,
dude, it's like
How old is he?
He's got
guy-
to be in his 80s. Jesus.
the guy's an alien. I don't think he's quite 80
He's
yet.
gotta
I think he's a little
be-
young. 79.
Something. Yeah. We talk about that a lot. I mention that a lot, that you have these people that they are not from this planet. Like
They're
they're
not.
just
He's not.
superhuman, or I don't know, something.
He
but
doesn't
he
have
is
an ounce
one.
of fat on him, man.
Yeah, he's 79.
It's wild. And all the like drugs and alcohol and everything. And like he looks like hell, but physically he is ridiculously fit.
Yeah.
That's like Keith Richards back in the 80s doing the Don't Do Drugs commercials. Really,
Yeah,
Keith,
those are
really.
always hilarious. Like, okay, guys.
Seriously, you
Yeah,
can't do any more
don't-
drugs. Like Dennis
Yeah,
Leary said it.
yeah.
You smoked them all.
He's
you
done
know?
them.
They're all
He did
gone.
them all. There's none
What did he
left.
say? We're going to have to
Don't
cremate
do
him to
them.
smoke his ashes?
Don't do
did
them
a-
because I need them.
He did
Yeah,
a
what a
drug
trip.
awareness to get off of a drug charge.
Yeah.
That was-
Yeah, you had to do your payback.
yeah. And that was his
Community
Stones.
service.
Rock Against Drugs. I remember that shit.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
funny.
rad.
So the Stones are my number 3. So go ahead, Andy.
Yeah.
Great choice. Great choice.
My number 3, I'm still going back and forth. It's between two of them, and I'm going to go with Prince as my number 3. Man, when he came out,
Holy shit.
he had said, they told him, "Hey, Prince, it's raining outside. What do you want to do?" He said, "Can you make it rain more?"
Harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they went out there with heels and a thunderstorm with electricity. And this dude,
4 different
know,
electric guitars.
I'm not the biggest Prince fan. I'm not. I'm more of a hits guy. But dude, when he played, Best of You by Foo Fighters and just played other songs, and then he ends it with Purple Rain, just an unbelievable track.
In a downpour.
And
In a
it's out
downpour.
there.
You couldn't have scripted that any better.
Better. It was like a movie in real life right in front of you, in front of millions of people. And you're going, this is freaking insane. And he's out there with that guitar, which was his symbol, which was also
The whole stage.
floor. The
Mhm.
stage was also that. And his dancers had like these big old heels, and
Yeah.
you can see the water. I mean, they could have fallen, but no, this whole performance was just fantastic. And I give it up to Prince. At first, I was like, "Oh, okay, Prince is okay," and then my jaw just dropped when I was watching him. He was just amazing that day, and so that's my number 3 is Prince. It's my
Nice.
number 3 favorite.
Nice.
Number 2, Nate. So what you got?
Oh, man. The king, dude. Fucking king of pop. Come on. Michael Jackson, 93, Dallas Cowboys, Buffalo Bills. Come on, dude. It's one of the greatest Super Bowl performances of all time. I love how he started up much like Lady Gaga, way up here, which had to be a double.
The stunt was funny. They had all the different screens and he pops up atop of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was great. You know, there's
Mhm.
a little bit of magic, some David Blade or Copperfield going on there.
Yeah.
Shows up at the bottom of the thing, and dude, he did a great set. You know, he hit his hits. He had, you know, Jam, Billie Jean, Black or
Mhm.
White, which was really popular at the time.
Yeah.
Then he hits "We Are the World" with Children's Choir. Dude, that's awesome. I love that song. I had the USA for Africa album. I wish I could find a copy of it today on vinyl. And close out with "Heal the World." And everybody in the audience was given a placard, and they all hold it up in his hands across America, basically all around the stadium.
Mhm.
It was just a dynamite performance. I've always been a fan of Michael Jackson, man. The king of fucking pop, definitely number 2.
Yeah, that was a really good.
To me, that was the turning point in halftime shows when he
Yeah.
It was.
when
Yeah.
when Michael Jackson did it.
To
Finally,
be bigger
like,
than Michael
if he-
Jackson.
it became elaborate. It became these
Mhm.
elaborate, you know.
Mhm.
And he was, you know, it was so hard for me not to put him in my top 5, because I don't know. To me, it was just so. It's. I had kind of forgotten about it. Actually, I had to revisit it and kind of refresh my memory.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Because my 1 and 2, when Andy hit me up, I knew immediately what my 1 and 2 were. I
Yeah.
thought I knew what my number 3 was, but as I was going back watching these things, I'm like, oh no, it's not. Because my number
Yeah.
3 immediately was Aerosmith with NSYNC and Britney Spears,
Mhm.
and then, you know, Mary J. Blige. But when I started watching them, I was like, oh
Your
no.
yeah, it changes.
Yeah.
I thought about the
But
ones
my
I'd
1 and
watch
2 were
live.
solid the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my first 2 picks. I was like ones I've watched live, and they like put that impression in my mind of remembering them immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. MJ, man, I mean, that's just stands the test of time.
It's good stuff. Love it.
Yeah.
What's your number 3? No, 2.
2.
We're on 2. It's my turn.
Yeah.
All right. I went with U2. This is one that I remember watching live. It impressed me a lot that this is not long after like 9/11 happened. They have this huge scrolling banner going with all the names of everybody on all the flights and all the people in the tower. And I'm like, holy
Remember that.
shit, that is just, I mean, it's a pretty staggering thing to watch. Like, maybe it's not the most upbeat Super Bowl performance, but I think just Bono, like the whole band obviously is fantastic. I've seen them. They were one of the best shows I've ever seen. And it's not even like it's one of my favorite bands. It's just their stage performances are amazing. And he's such a good showman.
Mhm.
They play that whole list of names, and then they have that going where the streets have no name is when they're doing that. I just thought it was cool too when he comes in, he walks through the crowd and comes to the stage and walks on the stage. And I'm like, I like these fan interactions. I like when you have that connection with people and you can walk through the crowd and get on stage, and it's just such a, like, to be one of those people, it'd be such an incredible experience. So anything like that is always impressive to me. That one's just a really strange time for the country.
Yeah.
Strange time for humanity after that. But then to represent all those people during, like I said, one of America's biggest to-dos in all of everything we do every year, this is such a big deal. So I thought it was pretty impressive to do that. And a nice way to honor all those people.
It was a really great performance.
The
Really
band's
great
so
performance.
good.
I am not a U2 fan.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I did enjoy that halftime show. I just watched that back earlier tonight. Too.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is really good. It
They're
can't be my
just
top
so
5
good.
because
Yeah.
it's U2. But I shit on them just to be an ass. You know,
It's one of
obviously a
those
very
bands that gets
talented
picked on. Yeah.
Very talented band, and there are some
Mhm.
songs I like because most of these bands that I don't like, I like some songs. I thought it was a great show. I really liked why they were doing it. You know, I liked all the symbolism they had. Yeah, it made my honorable mentions though. So look, Mark Alden Taylor, U2 made my honorable mention.
You have to tag him in this part of the video. Look up
Right.
minute 59.
No, he usually watches these all the way through.
Yeah, that's
At the
cool.
time. He does.
Yeah.
Do that. What's your number 2, Al?
My 1 and 2, man, it really just it was so hard to
It's a squeaker.
put what was 1, what was 2, but my number 2, I'm gonna have to go with Prince. Just phenomenal performance. He almost made my number 1, but when you hear my number 1, you'll understand why. But Prince, I mean, he was fucking doing Hendrix up there, dude, and just completely wailing on guitar, dude, and just showing how talented he is, dude. Like, I mean, the guy just fucking plays everything, but he doesn't get enough credit.
27 instruments.
I think now he gets more credit as a guitar player after he's passed. But I mean, just kind of reinforced the whole thing. This one, and there was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame performance that he did too, when he did.
Oh man, that one.
Oh, when he stole that shit, good God.
He just kills it. Like, he is screaming on that guitar in that one.
He took over and said, "No, baby."
Like, think of who else is on stage.
He
who
just
else
showed
is on stage that plays guitar with him in that?
Well, Tom Petty's on there, Jeff Lynne's on there. There's a bunch of people on there.
Woo!
And they're just in awe of him. He's just showing him like them all, like how it's done. But on this halftime performance, man, when he was just going out in the stage on the catwalk into the crowd, just completely letting the guitar do the talking, it was just like incredible.
When that flow state, like, we've talked about that a lot before, but he gets in that and is like, it becomes like part of his body. Like, even when you see the silhouette and then it's really like part of him. It's so amazing.
Yeah. And I'm lucky. I got to see Prince twice live in concert.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I did, because it was like probably one of his last like major tours that he did.
Yeah.
You know, and he was just incredible. Blew me away, man. I mean, I always kind of parallel him with like Frank Zappa in a way. Even
somebody
though
who's
like
bizarre and different and really can like play anything.
And I know the two admired each other as well. Like, I know Frank admired him, and Prince admired Zappa, and and like, I don't know, for me, like, because Prince, I'm still waiting. I'd love to hear like a real hard rock record from Prince, like from the vaults, like somebody going to vault, because I know there's plenty of tunes that he's done heavy tunes, and they're probably
tons and tons of stuff.
Yeah, Bambi's a metal song. I don't care what anybody says. Bambi's straight up metal song.
Yeah. But I like for them to go in the vaults and, like, you know, piece together a real hard rock, you know, heavy album, man. Just so he could show like a different side of him, you know, that I know he's capable of doing, because he showed pretty much every side of music, jazz and you know, hip hop and pop.
He could play anything.
Yeah, everything, man. So,
and so many instruments. I mean, he could just do. It was one of those people that he could just pick it up.
27 instruments. He just could do it.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you have parents that lock you in your bedroom all day.
Well, and grow up, you're like a little poor kid in Minneapolis. You know, I mean, he just.
But that halftime performance of his, man, is just it's just the top echelon of performances, man. You know, for me. So that's my number 2, though. So I do have a number 1. Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, my number 2 is going to be Lady Gaga. I love that performance.
Yes.
I was able to see Lady Gaga in concert, and she was fantastic live. She's so full of talent. And what I like about her is, my mom and I were talking about this earlier, because I do have that Tony Bennett CD here, and she's great on it.
She's so good.
The way that she's getting older and she's changing her ways. She's not walking out with wearing meat and all this crazy shit. she's changing with her age, and she's doing great. And now
she's evolving beautifully.
Yes, and she's going into acting, and she's killing that, and she's just so talented. She's not trying to be an older lady trying to play the young girl's game anymore. She's already done that. She conquered it. people try to
Right.
follow in her footsteps, and she's already moved on to something else.
Yeah.
Moved on to something else. But this halftime performance was just fantastic.
Yes.
You know, she sang one of my favorite songs, "Million Reasons," which is a fantastic album off of Joanna, and I think she's just fantastic. And the way that she came down from up there, or however they did it, it was just, you know, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of technical stuff going on, but it doesn't matter
Mhm.
because it's what the eye see and it's how we perceive it. So I thought that was really cool. And she comes out, she's dancing and she's singing, and you know, she did the whole football thing with the football pads, and you know, she said hi mom and how dad and hi dad.
That
And
was cute. Yeah, I like that one.
you know, she was just, and you can just feel in her. She's an authentic person and performer. So that's why she got my number 2. I was going between her and Prince, but I like Lady Gaga's music more. I listen to complete albums by her when I don't do that with Prince. So that's why I put her at number 2. So number 2 is Lady Gaga.
Did you have Prince in your list?
Yeah, number 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I flip-flopped them. I wasn't too sure which way I was going to go.
I got you.
So, guys, we are down to our favorite performance at the Super Bowl halftime. So, what's your number 1? Nate?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say Andy and Al, I love you guys.
Yeah, we'll feel
You're fucking wrong. I can't speak on Kate yet because I haven't heard. But Prince is the greatest fucking Super Bowl performance
I'm not going to argue. with
ever.
that.
Are
I'll argue
you
with that.
kidding me, dude? This dude is out there in high heels on slippery ass. What is it? Some kind of plastic shit they had over the stage.
It looked very slippery.
Very
They
slippery.
they said it was dangerous.
They said it was slick as hell. And
Mm.
dude, he played his ass off. You'll never ever be able to tell me that wasn't live. Prince doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would
He
say,
would
"Look,
never,
I'm gonna
ever."
fake it."
No.
He went out there, he played his ass off.
Yeah.
And you talk about a set, dude. Come on. Fucking let's go crazy. We will rock you. You know, dude, Proud Mary. Come on. He's doing some old Tina Turner and Creed and shit. He busts out with 1999 all along the Watchtower. Hendrix, are you kidding me? The Best of You by the Foos. And then the ever epic. You could never, I said it earlier today, I've said it for years. You couldn't script this any better. The rain gets the heaviest. I mean, it's a fucking downpour. And they got all that purple lighting up on there. Boy, were the gods of music smiling down on this Super Bowl for whatever reason. And Prince wails Purple Rain. Are you kidding me? This is the greatest performance ever at the Super Bowl halftime show.
I'm not
It
gonna
might be
argue
the
with you,
greatest performance ever. And, oh, God, what the hell was I going to say? As far as guitar playing goes, I have said for years, I've been doing my radio show since 2016. My podcast is 2017. And I have maintained since well before Prince passed away that he is the most underrated guitarist in the world. He gets all the credit in the world as a musician. Oh man, this guy, he's almost a savant. He plays, 27 different instruments and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is one of the greatest guitar players all time. And the problem is with these great guitar players that aren't shredders, they tend to get overpowered by the shredders. This guy's amazing. He proved it that night in the pouring ass rain, delivering a performance in about 13 minutes. They just destroyed anything else that they've been able to come up with before or since.
Yep.
I said it. I'll die on that hill.
I'm not going to argue with you, man. You're 100% on spot on, bro.
I have
Now-
that number 3.
Yeah, you're dead wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out if Kate's wrong or actually knows what she's talking about.
No, I think us in the purple, we got to represent our Prince, and I went with Prince.
Yes.
Super Bowl 41, 2007, Miami, Florida. Florida's weird if you've ever been there with how it rains. It'll rain 10-20 minutes and that's the end of it.
Exactly.
After, mid-afternoon getting to dusk and it'll pour. And thinking of the timing of this where it's just pouring rain.
Perfect
I know we
timing.
said this. Everyone said this, but it's just mind blowing. And then he's like, whatever, we're going to do it. Like, yeah. And how he said, could you make it rain more? It's just such
Prince,
a crazy thing.
I think it was because it was Prince, and Prince can make anything happen.
He is not going to skip a show. He is not going to let anyone down. Like, that's somebody who's just such a stellar performer and artist, is there to wow all the fans and give them what they want. And he just kills it. Everyone said it. He's in heels. The twins are in heels. They're in like 6-inch stilettos. All the producers said that stage was ridiculously slippery and dangerous dry. And those broads just tear it up out there dancing. And like, man, I can barely walk a straight line, let alone walk in stilettos or dance in the rain. Stunning. His backup vocalist, stunning. Her voice is phenomenal. Like, I didn't look up her name. I should have. I like to shout out people like that, but that's just such a stellar performance all around. The band, the backup, the dancers. Obviously, he's incredible. I mean, the suit, his outfit.
Yeah.
Could you imagine he like takes his hat and then he takes his do-rag off and throws it in the crowd? I was thinking when I rewatched it, I'm like, how much is that damn thing worth? That probably sold for God only knows. It's in a museum somewhere.
Shit, that's sold on eBay.
I know. Could you imagine how much? Like, this is Prince's do-rag from the Super Bowl, and rain and his sweat is on it.
Can you imagine that, man?
Crazy,
Lord. I'd hope that person held on to it and is thinking now at this time, especially after seeing this, you're going to realize half of our panel
wait
is
a minute,
dead wrong.
You're going to cash in on
and
that.
half of us are right. But they're going to be like, oh my God, maybe I should sell this damn
is
thing.
Just such, like, everybody's mentioned all the songs he did, but just thinking, could you imagine being Foo Fighters and Prince is covering you at the Super Bowl?
Dave Grohl has said like he was blown away that he did a Foo Fighters song.
Could you? Wouldn't that break your brain?
Yeah.
And him doing, he's doing All Along the Watchtower. It's Dylan, but it's Hendrix's version, which obviously in my mind Hendrix is the better version, but it is Dylan. But
the definitive
that like being he grew up a poor black kid in Minneapolis, and to think of this American dream you are playing the Super Bowl, it just blows my mind. So not only is this Prince, which he's phenomenal, but to think of his background, and he's playing All Along the Watchtower, and that's based on a song that Dylan wrote about the witch's hat. I went there and took pictures in front of it when I was there, but it's the witch's hat in Prospect Park. So it's the water tower up on a hill, and you get this really cool view of the city when you're up there. So my mind goes to that when I'm listening to that now that you can see it, and I see it in my head because I was there.
Nice.
But to think of this performance of it's 100,000 people live in the rain, and that vibe that Andy was talking about, that electricity in the crowd, could you imagine being at that show and you have 150 million people watching this on TV? And everyone's experiencing this. Like, this is one that really stuck out for me in my mind. That's what I was saying of like how I picked these. Obviously, Prince's is incredible, but this is one that really stuck in my head watching this and seeing this performance, and it stuck with me till now. Like, that was almost automatically decided. Yeah, I can see it, almost automatically decided that this was going to be my number one, even when we talked about this. But then it was like revisiting
I knew it immediately, Kate. When Andy got a hold of me, I knew right away.
Right.
Number 2 was
what
Michael
your number
Jackson.
one?
Number 1 is Prince.
Yeah, I had a harder time about picking between like my other ones, but I was thinking about this and thinking about how incredible of a moment of like 15 minutes, like all the other crap, all the to do and the money and the sets and everything going into it, and this like incredible 13 minutes of time is just so frozen in my mind of having this really imprinted in my brain of watching this live on TV. I mean, that to me is the incredible thing about these Super Bowl halftime shows is thinking about where you were, you remember where you were, you remember who was there, what you were eating, and all these other things are really imprinted in your memory. And it's just a funny part of humanity to have that kind of thing go on, you know, and nobody else in the world, like there's other parts of the world that are into the Super Bowl, but it's not the same experience.
Yeah, they're not
This is
loading up on
something-
pizza and wings.
Yeah, yeah, you know,
all
they aren't
kinds of
having a
things
chili
that'll give you
cook-off and eating buffalo dip.
next week.
Yeah, that's like one of the biggest call-off days in all the U.S. is that Monday after the Super Bowl, and a lot of places even now will have the day off. They just call it like, yeah, we aren't even opening.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
They know
already
everyone's gonna
I'm
call
already
off.
trying to warn my job. Look, because that's my weekend off. Super Bowl
Yeah.
Sunday is my weekend off. You know, and so it's
Yeah,
like I
that
gotta be at
works
work
out
Monday
nice.
morning. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I'll-
yeah. That's
I'll-
a rough
already-
Monday morning for a
You're
lot
already
of folks.
planning it.
Yeah,
I already
Yeah.
know. I'm told I can't call off, so I'm gonna go in cross-eyed. Hope I do okay.
have your coffee pot set to brew a pot of coffee.
right. for
That
real.
yeah, I mean, this just what a phenomenal happenstance of timing with everything, the rain and the whole vibe of the crowd, and you know, I mean, it's just such an incredible thing. And he's playing 4 different guitars, and then the stage is his symbol. He gets his guitar, that's his symbol, and he just shreds. And that getting into a flow state, I don't play anything, so my brain doesn't do that, but I definitely could feel that painting or doing other stuff that I do, any kind of artistic things of like drawing or painting, and you can get your head into that where you just don't even think about where you're going, but you realize when you come out of it where you got and what you've done. And just to think of him shredding like that at the Super Bowl, and then he gives the crowd this one last look at the end of that I like just leaves you speechless.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so many things could have gone wrong during that performance.
Oh,
so many.
all the electronics getting soaked, like
And
Florida
it was just perfect.
rains. It is a deluge
Yeah.
of rain coming down at the end of that when he's doing Purple Rain. It's like
Yeah.
how you can get shocked, people can get electrocuted.
Yeah, and that's why they stop shows when it starts
Yeah.
raining or there's like
Yeah.
within 12
Yeah,
miles of the, but not Prince. No,
I
no.
know.
No, he was
I
doing it.
know.
Love that
I know.
guy. God, I miss
Wild.
him. Rest in peace, Prince. Jesus.
Yeah, man. Have a cheers to him, man. He's a king. He is one of the greatest of all time.
Agreed.
I mean, that whether you listen to his music, I wouldn't even say I'm like the biggest fan of his music. I gotta listen to it, but it's not like I seek
love
it out
Prince.
as much. I have a few of his albums, but I mean, just performance wise, watching these, like how Al said that one, what was that, the American Music Awards or something?
The Grammy.
No, it was,
the
Hall of Fame,
Rock and Roll
wasn't it?
Hall of Fame.
Hall of
Yeah.
Fame.
Yeah.
Yep. That, if anyone listening hasn't watched that, watch that. That is
True
one of the
story.
most ridiculously stunning guitar pieces. He blows everyone out of the water that's on that stage, and to think of everybody else on the stage with him, and
Yeah, I know,
they're
right?
all
It's
looking at him.
ridiculous.
Yeah, 'cause
They're
Tom
all
Ford was like,
watching
what the hell
him.
is this guy doing? I mean,
Dude, I think they all didn't even realize, like, they are flabbergasted. You can see the looks on their faces, like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Prince was-
performance.
And I think-
whew.
I think I've never
I
seen him
think
live, but of all the video I've seen, those 2 performances are the ones where I'm like,
Yeah.
look, you cannot fuck with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he is just like bulletproof on those. It's just, what were you going to
I
say,
think
Al?
at the end of that performance too, he threw his guitar. He just threw his guitar up and walked off
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
You know,
what?
it was
Like,
just insane.
that's better than a mic drop.
That's
That
better
is
than a
just-
mic drop. Yeah, I was about
That
to say
is
that.
just, yeah.
I'm like he was saying that wasn't shit at all. You know,
He just snaps his fingers like, all right, I'm done. Like, see ya. It's
Yes,
just
he
such
completely
a,
transformed that track.
oh my
he really
God,
did.
he's just so,
True story. I
so
love that song.
talented.
Al, what's your number one as halftime
Um,
performances?
So before I get to my number one, just to expand a little bit on the Prince thing, I listen to satellite radio once in a while, and there was the volume channels, which was like music talk that I used to listen to all the time. And there was one guy in there that used to be Michael Pagnotta is his name, and he used to work for Prince, and he used to tell stories. He used to tell stories about about Prince and like the outrageous things that, like, you know, for example, I think one story he said that it was like 4 a.m. They were somewhere or something, and Prince all of a sudden was like, I don't remember if this was the item or not, but I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, I really want like a white horse right now, you know. And where the fuck are you gonna get a white horse at like 4 a.m? That's what Michael Pagnotta, who was like kind of his handler, like worked for him or whatever. They were together, and he's like, Prince, it's 4 a.m. Where am I gonna get a white horse right now? Happen like that, dude. It had to happen. It was like always, you know, like he's Prince, man. You know what I mean? So the whole rain thing, he probably looked up. He's like, I want it to rain right now, and it probably.
The heavens open up.
The skies probably listen to him, you know, because he's
another
Prince,
one
man.
That's like superhuman. That just he had that connection to God or whatever, the cosmos, that he could be like, it needs to rain for my show tonight, you know? Yeah.
This will be epic.
Yeah, dude, I need to play Purple Rain in the rain. So
Exactly.
How else was he going to do it, you know?
yeah, I mean, it's just so wild to think about stuff like that.
All right, so my number one, and the only reason, there's a reason why this is my number one, that it kind of overtakes Prince a little bit. I don't disagree with Bushy or Kate. Bushy, I don't disagree with you. It is the Prince is the greatest halftime performance. But I will say this: I picked this.
It's our favorites. It didn't have to be best. It's our favorites.
Yeah, I picked this one because I saw this band a few weeks after 9/11 actually happened at Madison Square Garden. Okay. It was U2. Okay. It was literally like 3 weeks, maybe 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, maybe after 9/11 happened. And I went with my wife. We weren't married at the time yet. We were just dating maybe, when 9/11 happened, we were probably dating close to a year. It wasn't even a year yet. So we went to U2 together. I got tickets and we went together. It was at the Garden, and we went, and it was literally like a couple weeks after 9/11. And it was like one of the very few concerts where I really bawled my eyes out, man. It was so emotional. Dude, they were like the right band to be in that venue at that time, because Bono, I mean, dude, you can, whatever, man. I know there's a lot of U2 haters, whatever. I like U2. Okay. And they put on incredible concerts. This one sticks out because it was right after 9/11, and Bono just told the crowd, he's like, listen, you're gonna get through this, and you know, you're gonna stand together, and you know, paraphrasing them, we'll get through this together, whatever, in typical Bono fashion. And you know, listening to him, you actually believed him. You know, he made you believe it. You know what I mean? So he had that knack of being that kind of front man. So when I saw this halftime performance and I saw the names, which they did at that concert too, they played it to the song One, and they had the names go up.
That's one of the YouTube songs I like.
Badass song.
And
yes, it is.
So when I saw the halftime show, and I just revisited it today. I was watching it today right before the show, like maybe an hour before. And I honestly got teary-eyed again. It brought back like this emotion of like this wave of emotion of that time period. And I actually got like, you know, I shed a tear, man, watching it again. It was so emotional, like the performance. And at the end, man, when he just opens his jacket up and you see the American flag, that's just like, dude, it's, even though they're not American, they really embraced America, you know, early on in their career. Like Bono has said, like, I love America. This is like my country away from my country and all that, you know. But when he opened up his jacket, it was the American flag there. That's when I lost it, you know. Originally watching the Super Bowl and with the names and all that stuff, and the names came down then, and he opened, and playing Where the Streets Have No Name, and it was appropriate for that song. And I don't know. So that's my number one. I got to go with U2 because it conjures up an emotion in me watching that and seeing that band like so close after 9/11 was a pretty spiritual, man. Like, you know, there's few concerts I've gone to where it's like kind of a religious experience, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
That's definitely, you know. So
when I think about that, like uncertainty of when you saw them at Madison Square Garden, that was probably one of the first big shows they had after that because they were so scared to have groups of people gather. And imagine like the Super Bowl was thought to be a big target that year. If you can, I mean, that's like all America. Like if you're going to hit something and ruin something, a terrorist or, you know, I mean, that seemed to be a target. So that was a huge thing, I think, for the time.
Somewhere where there's big crowds.
You know, you have 100,000 live people in one stadium, and that's like on TV, 150 million people watching. Like that's such a big thing. So I can imagine that feeling of uncertainty after, you know, within months or even that year and everything of just not knowing how things were going to go, you know?
Yeah.
And that would be pretty incredible. Like Bono talking and saying everything's going to be okay. I mean, that's such a powerful thing to experience.
It was very powerful. It was very powerful.
I gotta say, man, I've admitted I'm not a U2 fan. There are songs I like. The songs I like I heard on the radio. I've never owned a single U2 album. But I went back and watched that show, and I'm like, okay, this is good. You know,
they're so good.
This is really
they're
good.
all ridiculously talented.
You know,
like
the
anyone who
symbolism for the time, it didn't hit me the same way, even though I vividly remember my dad calling me on the phone saying, Nate, get out of bed. We're at war. Turn on your TV. You know, and you
live in New York,
everybody else in the country. But I was 6 hours north of New York City.
Oh, okay.
I was up by Fort Drum, New York.
See, where I live is literally like 15, 20 minutes right out. I can be in New York City in like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
basically.
I understand that. That's what I'm saying is even as a New Yorker, I'm not a New Yorker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm more of a New Yorker than you are, really.
As far as the city goes, you're absolutely right.
That would be so.
I mean, I was still just as angry as everybody else when I turned the TV on and watched it because I mean that was my home for 32 years. New York State was. But I watched this today and I was like, you know what? I can't even be a dick. I got to be honest because I like to fuck with Mark about U2. But they made my honorable mentions because I was like, God, boy, that's a great show.
That show's so good. Like,
it's definitely emotional. And the band, I'm not gonna lie, they could play. It's just not my style of music. It was a real good show. That's why they hit my honorable mention.
Yeah. And I mean, he does so much humanitarian work. Like, you can't, even people who don't like them, you got to give it to them for how much stuff they do. You know,
I can't take anything away from them for that, or even the band musically. I mean, I don't like Rush either, but I can't take away from the time.
There's gonna be a fight here live on TV.
Well, just remember, I didn't talk about the Beatles yet.
Hey, you better watch your ass.
Yeah, that's going too far.
It does have the Dallas. It does have the Dallas.
You want to talk smack about Rush, the Beatles, or Pink Floyd? We're gonna have an issue.
It's like that line. I just crossed it. No, I stepped on. I just stepped on it a little bit.
What?
That's it. Mute.
Yeah, and
we don't need to hear that.
It's immediately booted. Andy's got the kill switch. You better watch it.
But
what's your number one, Andy?
Yeah, my number one. This is weird. One side of the panel is Prince. The other side is U2. My number one is going to be U2. And let me tell you, I was at a Super Bowl party that day. And we were all drinking and barbecuing, going in and out. And I kid you not, it was complete silence when that performance was going on. Complete silence. and I was revisiting that again this weekend, and I was watching it with my mom, and it's something that stuck to me that I didn't notice before, but my mom had told me, and she was right. That performance by Bono and U2, it wasn't about them.
Right.
No.
That performance was for you, for me, for the country, for the whole world.
Yeah.
And that's what made it. I mean, they only played like 2 songs, I think, and it was short.
Yeah,
but
beautiful
Beautiful
day, and where
Day.
the streets have no name.
yeah, it was short and sweet
There-
and solemn, and it was
It was fun.
beautiful, haunting, and it will always be one. It's my favorite right now, and I don't know if another one would ever go above it. It was just it meant so much to me, you know.
Well, there was one comment on the video on YouTube that kind of I agree with under that video, and it just simply said, the person just said that was the moment that U2 gave America a hug, and basically that's true. You know,
Yeah.
when America like needed it the most, and they
They needed
delivered,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just a powerful performance, and those names were coming down.
It had that like funeral thing. Like, I don't know how to explain it, that it had that, how you said solemn, but it was hopeful.
Yeah. Was
know?
it
Yeah.
a sad happiness or a happy
I wouldn't
sadness? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, like that's such a devastating thing, and so many people lost, but there is that, like, have you ever heard that expression of like hope the size of a mustard seed?
oh yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? That, like, that's how I felt about that they left this hope. That was that vibe of that whole set, that they
Yeah.
there's we weren't finished yet,
yeah.
you know.
And the names were separated by, if you look
Yeah.
closely,
Each
it
incident.
it like had the NYPD
Yeah.
and their names, and
Yeah, and the flight
FDNY and their
specific,
names, and the
yeah.
flights, and all these different names, names that you could tell were from different backgrounds and from different religions. And
That's what
but they
America
were all
is too.
together,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
just so American. And you know, we rose from it stronger, and it was
Yeah.
just odd that something like that would happen in our country. You know, it just I just couldn't fathom it.
yeah, unthinkable. To us,
Yeah.
it must have felt like what it was in the 40s at Pearl Harbor. What was it,
Yeah.
46?
Yeah, that we were just
That's all I could think is
bulletproof.
like, dude,
That-
really?
Yeah.
You're coming at us and hitting us in a vulnerable spot?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
In the
Well,
middle
to be
of
out
New
of
York
the blue.
City, man.
Yeah.
You
Man,
know?
I was in high school, and they had the TVs on. Like, that first plane, they called and like had everybody, all the classrooms had all their TVs on. And that second plane hit when we were watching TV, and you're just like, as a kid, you know, you're just a dumb teenager. You don't you can't fathom the whole thing of how complex everything was with that. And you have this like naivete of being safe, if that makes sense. Like, you're a kid, and the world is safe. And that, I feel like we had a big turning point of I said we had that uncertainty of wondering about our safety after that.
That's so
It was just-
weird to hear that, because I grew up in the
Yeah.
military.
Yeah.
And, we were stationed in Heidelberg when Ronald Reagan bombed Muammar Gaddafi.
Yeah.
And we were practicing air raid drills
Well, you're just waiting
when I
for the
was in fourth or fifth
retaliation.
grade. Yeah, because we're on a military base in Europe. We were in Germany, you know. So we're practicing air raid drills instead of fire drills. And instead of doing them once a month, we were doing them every day.
Yeah.
How to evacuate the school in an orderly manner and a high rate of giddy up at the same time, you know, to get to the bomb
You
shelter.
have that like veil is pulled off, you know, that it's just something you wouldn't have thought about until you have to think about it. It gets shoved into your psyche,
Right.
and that veil's pulled from you, and you just are yeah, I don't know. I like watching like Pink Floyd, like in the Wall, thinking about that when they have all the air raids and everything. How you said, I mean, they're doing that, and thinking about all the children that had to do things. You know, the most significant thing we would do is like a fire drill or a tornado drill, and nothing until that happened, and then you have all this like obviously all the active shooter stuff and everything, and like this like delicate part of childhood where you're safe, and it gets taken away from you in a very weird and abrupt way. I mean, that performance is just such a thing of having it be publicly, like obviously all the 9/11 stuff was really publicly known to everyone in the US and the world, but I think just a reminder to think about it and think about all those people, and yeah, it's pretty heavy duty.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I gotta say, we figured out what the 2 best Super Bowl performances are, though.
Everyone agrees.
You know,
2 out of 4. 2 out of 4 agree it's you too.
Absolutely. We know
But I
that
think-
U2 and Prince had the 2 best Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Hey, Nate, so you said that you had a couple of honorable mentions.
Oh, I got some too. Yeah, we should do that.
I think I had mentioned them already. But yeah, I'll go over them real quick. The Jessica Simpson, Kid Rock, Nelly, Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, the Titty Slip of 04, Tom Petty, 09, U2, The Who in 2010. Man, that's pretty rocking show. And then, of course, the Aerosmith with Britney Spears singing. I don't care about NSYNC or Mary J. Blige. I just remember I've always liked Britney Spears. From the first time I saw that first video, although I felt dirty because I don't know how old she was. So I was like, should I be looking at this? You know?
Well, we got to go with what I said with the youngest and oldest. So it's somewhere in between.
So what are your honorable mentions?
I shouted out the Ella Fitzgerald Al Hurt one. You guys got to go back and watch it. It's on YouTube. It's in black and white. She's killing it with Mac the Knife. It's in honor of Louis Armstrong. I think it's actually in New Orleans that year, 72. Super Bowl 6. Which is crazy to think about. Super Bowl 6. So that one's a killer one. I think, oh man, we talked about Lady Gaga. That one's killer. I think Madonna's actually was really good. You know, it's Madonna. She's getting shit on a lot now. Obviously, she's kind of gone off the rails, but she was to the king of pop that is Michael Jackson. I could say she is the queen of pop at the time, you know, for history's sake and timing and her career.
I'd have a real hard time arguing that with you. I'd have a real hard time.
And her performance at the Super Bowl is amazing, and her set and costumes and everything. I mean, it's pretty incredible. I have to shout out Katy Perry's. Not that I like her music as much. Like, her music's cute or whatever, and she's obviously adorable. But the left shark, the guy that's like in the shark costume that has no idea what the hell's going on, is one of my favorite moments of Super Bowl history ever. So I have to shout that one out. That was just so funny. We talked about Chili Peppers. That was with Bruno Mars, which is a weird mashup, but Chili was good on that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, Timberlake's are good. Not my music, but you can't deny his talent. I think I'm good. I don't know. I'll think of something else, I'm sure, because I always do that. But Al, you got shout outs?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got to go with the Michael Jackson one as a honorable mention. I mean, it could very well be in the top 5. You know, like I said earlier, that was like the turning point for me of like.
And that's the turning point in their whole productions and everything.
The whole production, of like Super Bowls and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The big game, you know, that's supposed to use Super Bowl because they can come after you. The Dr. Dre,
the big game.
The Dr. Dre Eminem, like Nate shouted out earlier, that was actually because I like the older hip hop as well, and that was a
Yes.
good one. You know,
Yeah.
so
That was cool. They
I,
brought all those people out too. I mean, that's really cool to have all these people that were such a huge influence to music at the time.
Yeah, and like the Who, like a lot of the rock ones I liked. You know, the Who was cool. You know, Aerosmith, that was a good one. Even though it's I don't know, man. Aerosmith sometimes they can, you know, teaming up with the pop people kind of.
Yeah.
It's like just get Aerosmith out there and just fucking
By
play like
themselves.
something off Rocks or something like that. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
they
It's
should have
like-
played alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like them and Run DMC or something. It was, yeah.
Well, I disagree. I
Be
thought it
pure
was amazing.
Aerosmith, man. Play like fucking at least like 5 songs.
I'm not saying it was bad.
Oh,
I didn't say that.
Oh, all I
just
care
think
about is Britney. Britney
Yeah.
stole the show.
if you had the hots for Britney,
She was pretty young at that time still, dude.
She
Yeah,
was
that's
legal,
the one-
dude. She was legal.
and I was like, that's the one you should question watching and being.
Yeah. The Blues Brothers and ZZ Top and James Brown, that was cool. Even though
That
ZZ
one's
Top
so
pla-
fun.
even though ZZ Top played along to their recorded songs, I was like, dude, that kind of
Yeah.
that's why I didn't go in my top 5 because it's like
Yeah.
you're kind of miming. You could have
That-
plugged in and played. You know what I mean? It's like, come
I
on, don't-
discounted the ones that had too much going on too. 'Cause
Yeah.
that was like that one would have been fun if it was 2 acts or, and like
That
I
was a
said,
complete-
the Blues Brothers are all lip syncing in that. But
yeah, that was a
it's
complete
still
lip
fun.
sync fucking fest. You know?
I mean, getting
anyway,
like
it was-
James Brown, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But that's all I got. So Andy, you can go ahead.
Yeah, you know, the last time the Super Bowl was here, it was with Lady Gaga, but they had festivities all week, and the Saturday before, it was a free show, and it was Gary Clark Jr. with ZZ
Oh,
Top.
he's another guitarist that is ridiculous. If you guys don't know him, man,
Yeah, that was like the third or fourth
Yeah.
time I saw him.
I saw him at Austin City Limits. He
Yeah.
was phenomenal. He's just
And then
I
ZZ
saw-
Top closed it. It was really
I
good
saw him-
show.
I saw Gary Clark Jr. open for Clapton. And yeah,
Oh,
it was-
wow.
Yeah.
That'd be
Good.
incredible.
But my honorable mentions, I'm surprised that Sir Paul didn't make my top 5. But me being such a big Beatle fan, but it didn't. But honorable mention to him. You know, he did what he had to do at the time. The Who's performance was fantastic as well. It was just so powerful. And they, you know, I know that right now they're kind of, you know, that might have been the last fantastic Roger Daltrey performance because man, his voice was so strong during that performance.
Yeah. Yeah, the Who's one was really good.
And I want to give a little shout out to the country one because
That one's cool. I watched that.
A lot of country at the time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Judd's, Travis Triton.
Clint Black.
Yeah.
It was Clint
Yeah.
Black, Tanya Tucker. Oh,
That's who I
Judd.
couldn't think of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I rewatched that and I was like, man, that one's cool. They haven't done a country artist since
Travis
that.
Tritt.
Yeah, since that. So
Yeah,
it was
that's a
cool.
long time ago. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah,
Um,
the other one I didn't mention too, Beyonce's, is ridiculous. Like that's not my music at all, but
But
you
she
know,
danced.
it's
her
Beyonce.
that was the one when she brought Destiny's Child.
hmm
That's the
Yeah, I
one where
saw
she was
them.
wearing the Peter Chris bandoliers.
She I
That
saw
one, yeah.
Destiny's Child like a million billion years ago, and they
Uh-huh.
opened for Backstreet Boys when I was into that, if you could imagine that. But I saw her when she was nothing. She was just an opener. But it's just such a wild thing to think of seeing someone when they were just starting out 20 years ago or longer, and then she's hosting a Super Bowl halftime show.
So those are my honorable mentions. Thank you so much for being on the show, guys. I'm really glad y'all took the time to watch these videos and then compile everything up. Tomorrow, I believe Al and I will be on the BS sessions with Mark and Jerry and Charles, doing soundtrack, song rock heavy metal songs that are in on soundtracks. So that's
That's
gonna be a
cool.
fun
That'll
one.
be fun.
Yeah. Nate, what are you up to, man?
I'm on the air this Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. I've switched to every other Saturday because my weekends have been taken up with work. So yeah, this Saturday coming, I don't know what that date is. Today's the 8th, people. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Hard rock, heavy metal, mostly of the classic variety, but I like to slip in some new stuff. And I like to slip in some underground stuff. And I like to slip in some weird stuff. You can listen to Testament and then hear like New Kids on the Block. You don't know what's going to happen on this show.
They did a Super Bowl.
I know they did. I kept them out of my honorable mentions. I had enough crow to eat with the Lady Gaga thing. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. The Plug Podcast, Music and More, me and Metal Mike. Check us out when you get a chance. Podbean, Apple Podcasts, wherever you catch your podcasts.
That's pretty cool. And also on their podcast, they talk music, they talk sports, they talk all sorts of stuff of what happened during that week and the hot topics of music. It's a really good podcast. I really do enjoy it. Right now, I'm on a listening to podcasts of our friend weekly in some kind of form because I want to listen, but I wish there was a few more hours in a day.
I feel you.
And plus the music I want to listen to, and the television I want to watch.
It's hard to keep up.
Evil tube. That's what gets me every time is that damn tube.
Yeah.
Keep watching it.
And
Thanks, man. I appreciate you explaining that because I never do.
And what about you, Kate? You got any auctions coming up with?
I'm hoping I can do a bigger one. I have so many records piled around. It's ridiculous. I'm hoping I can do a bigger one when I go on spring break because I still have classes going on and working. It's hard. But you guys can follow me on my record pages. I do the International House of Vinyl. I have, and there's Vinyl Street. If you're looking for anything, always hit me up. I will try to find it, or I could have it. Who knows? I have like 4,000 records here for sale. So it's a little ridiculous. Nothing else that I could think of to shout out. If anybody wants to follow me on any social media, hit me up. I'm happy to talk records and music anytime, of course.
Yeah, she really does enjoy talking music, as y'all can see. Al, what's going on with you?
As far as like shows,
yeah.
Saturday I'm going to see Deep Purple here in New Jersey.
Really?
They still kick ass, man. That's gonna be great.
It's gonna be weird because Steve Morse is not with them now, so they got somebody new on guitar. So I haven't seen who it is yet. I can't remember who the name of the guy, but
I think they said
I'm sure it's somebody good.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Richie Blackmore.
I'm kidding.
I fucking wish it was him.
He's still playing the Renaissance fairs.
There might be a chance that Friday I might go see Motley Crue and Def Leppard. They're playing Atlantic City here in New Jersey. That's I'm on the fence on that one yet. I'm not sure if I want to. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to travel 2 hours to go see him because I saw him last summer anyway. So, but my friend has an extra ticket, and I might go.
Oh, it's a free ticket.
Yo, yeah. Deep Purple's free too. I don't pay.
Why are you arguing?
I don't know how we can do it, but we got to figure out these circles Al's running in.
I know, right?
Visit New York City and the greater area.
And I also am real excited because I've secured 2 interviews for my channel from bona fide musician rock stars. I'm not going to name who they are yet, but I'm setting it up. They've agreed to come on my channel so I can interview them. Nice. I know one of them pretty well, actually. I've met that person a few times, and I can give a clue, but it's not going to help you out. I do have a picture with that person.
Oh, jeez.
That's like 1,000 people.
You really narrowed it down for us.
Narrow it down. One of 1,000 pictures they all post
Yeah,
is some
right,
famous person.
I'm just
Al
keeping
can
it-
open up his own museum.
I'm just
Let's
keeping it at that. But that person agreed to come on my channel and have me interview them, and then the other vocalist, I'll put it that way. They're both vocalists, actually.
We narrowed it some. We narrowed it some.
There we go, yeah.
I'm pretty excited. So watch out. That probably might be happening in another month or two. So, that's
awesome.
what I got
That's
going on.
awesome, man. Good news.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Please
Thank
keep
you.
us posted.
I will.
That's awesome.
I don't want to share too much about it yet, because if it falls through, I don't want to make
Don't
me and
put a
myself look
hex
like
on
an
it.
idiot. But
Yeah.
No. See what happens.
yeah.
I know it's going to work.
that's
Andy,
what I
what do you got going on?
Yeah, next week on the Black Spinner Music Podcast, it's the day after Valentine's Day, but still I want to do the top 10 songs with a woman's name in the title of the song.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, some good love songs, some ballads.
And also some murderous songs as well.
Yeah, some revenge songs.
Yeah, there's some crazy shit out there. So,
Yeah, there's wild stuff. That'll be a cool one, man. That'll
yeah.
be fun.
Yeah, that'll
Yeah,
be fun to
so
watch.
that's what I'm working on as well. So a lot of good things that are coming up. I want to do other shows, but I keep on popping up with different ideas, and those shows keep on being pushed back and back, but they will pop up weekly. We do this, so I really enjoy it, and there's a lot more coming y'all's way. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me.
What's your guys'
thank
pick?
you.
What's your guys' pick? Super Bowl. You gotta know.
I can't root for the
The
Eagles.
size.
Nate-
Nobody's too excited about this one.
Oh, I'm very excited.
Nate knows this one. As a Cowboys fan, you can't root for the Eagles, dude.
Yeah, but we know who's going to win.
Probably the
Think
Eagles.
it's the birds.
Yeah.
Probably the birds. I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
Yeah, the Eagles. You know,
Mahomes is going to have to pull some major magic. I've been saying the Eagles, man. Like since week, I don't know, 12, I finally had to give in and say, "Fuck, the Eagles are going all the way, dude."
Yeah, probably.
And also Jerry Soupy and I will have our football podcast the day after the Super Bowl.
Oh, that'll be fun. You guys
Monday.
can recap. What's your
Yeah.
guys' call on nip slips over Deflategate over? There
I'll
should
take
be
the
a
nip
bet.
slips
I'm sure
anytime.
somebody's got a bet on it. There's got to be a bet for something. Some wild shit happening. So
Yeah, I went to a casino out there in Louisiana.
Wait, hold on. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
There's no nipple there.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I was gonna say what? Johnny Cash.
No nip slip.
No,
He's still wearing his training bra. No,
Man, but
yeah.
it's
We'll have
pretty-
to see.
it's pretty crappy that Janet Jackson got the brunt of that.
Oh, it was
I
an
know.
accident, like ridiculous. Yeah.
And really Timberlake was the one that reached over and pulled it out, and then he gets to go 2 more times and has his own spotlight, and she's banned.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That affected her career, man.
Oh yeah,
wow.
man.
That-
Like
that
she
ruined
got
her career.
panned.
Yeah,
That was like the beginning of cancel culture, man. She was canceled.
and you
Yeah,
cannot-
even Chris Rock was messing with her about that crap, man,
Yeah.
on his stand-up shows.
Yeah.
And you can tell me that no one knew. I mean, a lot of people must have known that because that was ripped off. So that was planned by the.
That's what I
Walt
said. It
people.
wouldn't come off that easy. Come on, man.
No, it was like Velcro. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
man. And
Never.
it was leather, so it was easily pulled off.
Women have
It
been taking
wasn't-
the brunt of historical events since the Bible. So
Right. I feel bad for her because I did see her. She had this life.
Even before
So
that, Greek
talented.
mythology, Pandora
all of
box.
them, so talented.
Yeah, and she was one of my favorites. I liked her better than Michael. I really did, especially
Yeah.
there in the '90s when she was coming up with the Rhythm Nation,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Planet album, and the Velvet Rope. It was just amazing.
that's
And
good
then
stuff.
this happened, and it ruined her.
Mhm.
And we're still out there for you, Janet. We love you.
Shout out to her, man.
Oh, yeah.
Talented.
The
Yeah.
whole family's ridiculous.
Oh my god, that whole family is so incredible. It's just
For the Control album and all that, she wrote almost all the songs, and she wrote all the synth parts as well.
Nice.
and doing all the dancing and choreography and everything
Yep. With
just
her,
as much.
Paula.
I mean, it's wild.
Yeah, she was. Yes, that whole family. Maybe not Latoya, maybe not Tito.
I don't know. I've seen some of Latoya's films. I'd say she's
Films?
talented.
And she's pretty good at predicting the future. If I don't remember.
Sorry for a sexist joke. Damn it.
I don't give a shit. Oh my god. Yeah.
Latoya.
Oh
All
my
right,
god.
guys. Thanks a lot for being on
Good
the
show,
I
guys.
really
This one was
appreciate
fun.
it. This was a lot of fun.
It
I
was
will
fun.
reach y'all up and see if y'all want to do the girl names in the title of the songs. So I
The revenge episode.
yeah. So y'all enjoy the Super Bowl. Everybody out there enjoy the Super Bowl game. It's going to be great. I think this is the two best teams in football going at it.
This will be pretty incredible.
It's going to be a great game.
Don't drink and drive.
Yes,
Call an
no,
Uber.
people drive.
Call your friend. Call a taxi.
There's gonna be
Call a
sober
horse
people-
and carriage if you need to.
Yeah, if you live where Bushy lives, you gotta
Be safe.
you gotta ride a horse.
Be safe. Be smart.
and there's going to be sober people around you. So ask them
Yeah.
for a ride or ask
Don't
them
risk
to stay
it.
there.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
my PSA of the night.
and it's a very important one as well.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, guys. Y'all take care.
Love you guys. Have a good night.
Cheers.
Good to see you.
Bye, y'all.
Take
Take
it
care.
easy, y'all.
Bye bye.
Bye.